My name is Princess Scott. I like to produce to some and present to others. Let me tell you about this unsung musical genius of Houston, Texas, and the world. My husband, Joseph Scott, who gave me his hand, which was my everything, my man, except the Christ. Joe being a prolific songwriter, producer, arranger, band leader, orchestra, A&R producer, typified the Duke's sounds like no other, which left after Joe came on board. There was many artists there that is now famous that went on their own, such as the legend Johnny Otis, which they produced Big Mama Thornton, Hound Dog. This song was a song that brought Elvis Presley's famous. Also, Joe wrote songs on many artists, which Bobby Bland was just a regular singer. He could not read or write, neither could he play any instrument, became a sensational artist. He wrote songs on Junior Parker, Ted Taylor, Be Ever Wonderful, Joe Hinton, Ain't That Funny, Clara Ward, Reverend Cleovis Robinson and Sister, The Mighty Clients of Joy, Ted Taylor, Be Ever Wonderful, that has been sampled and became extraordinary by Kendrick Lamar. He also wrote hit songs such as Blind Man that he would produce on Bobby Bland and Lil Milton Campbell. Also, Van Morrison, Ain't Nothing You Can Do, Aretha Franklin, just to name a few.
It's the greatest experience I've had because when I met Joe at Duke Label, I just had the voice. I didn't know how to sing, how to place things. And he took me in the woodshed, and we came out a winner, you know. But I just had a voice. I didn't know how to place things. I'd be saying them, but not putting anything into it, you know. I was taught from Joe, as you sing in a recording, be thinking all the time how you can say certain things and place them, you know. Just don't be a run-of-the-mill singer. So as you're saying, think about what you're saying, and if it's anything about love, everybody's been in love, so I know how to approach those. But then you have to learn how to say certain things and place them. And that's one of the things that I learned from him. And you have to feel a certain way whenever you're singing certain lyrics. It has a meaning about being in love, or being disappointed, or whatever, things like that.
Now let me tell you about Larry Davis, which was his one-hit maker, Texas Flood. Stevie Ray Vaughan, he came and he took that song and took it to the next level, a splash. It became so huge. If you go to Austin, Texas, where the music industry moved to, after Joe closed Duke's Peacock record line publishing company out of business when he got tired of the prejudices and left, you will see a statue of Stevie Ray Vaughan with his guitar with the water coming out saying Texas Flood. There were so many other artists, such as Grateful Dead, Turn on Your Love Light, which is their signature song. Also, we have Eric Clapton, Buddy Guy, Curtis Mayfield. They even did the movie with the actor that made Shaft big, Richard Roundtree, with Never Let Me Go being one of the main features on the movie score. I have yet to get a red penny. Now let me bring someone else in that can continue to help me with this repertoire gene that they thrived on and laughing to the bank to take his dream. And I'd like to introduce Jay Scott, his song, Jay Wellington. Come, Jay, I need your help. Jay Wellington Scott. He got the name Wellington from Joe's colleague and jazz music, Duke Ellington.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, how are you?
You definitely are sharing some important truths about my dad's music history and legacy that not too many people know about, if anything, and was rightfully due to him, and he definitely was responsible and had an influence on a lot of musicians today that is looked at as legends. Some have passed, some are still living, like you said, Curtis Mayfield, James Brown.
Okay, we're back with Bobby Blue Bland and Godfather of the Soul, Mr. James Brown, and you know this fella, don't you, James?
Do I know him, man? I've always idolized him. I used to follow this cat, man, and try to sing like him, but I could never sing like him because nobody sings the blues like this man and our special guest.
You've got one of his tunes in your album, man. What
Yes.
about his tunes?
Further on up the road, man.
Yeah,
You gonna give me some of the bucks, man?
And I'd also like to mention that Mr. Brown has agreed to come back very soon and bring his whole orchestra and do a little Soul Train, right, James?
Gotta do that. That's part of all of it.
And we'd like you to bring on our special guests.
Our special guest, the other part of the blues. Two of them together makes the only blues in the world, Mr. B.B. King.
Well, as everyone probably knows, this appearance was prompted by that fantastic album you fellas did together, and it's one of the greatest things I've ever heard, and I'd like to congratulate you both on it.
And they got no competition.
Huh?
They have no competition. None.
We're going to ask you to do, a kind of a medley. I know you don't do them the same way every time, but a medley similar to some of the things you did in the album.
For you,
all right?
We'll do anything. Right on.
B.B., we thank you so much. All right, how about it for B.B. King and Bobby Bland?
Come on back up here.
Just sing it as you feel it. It's all right.
That's the same way we did it a few months ago.
That's right.
So ain't no different. You do the thing.
Okay.
I think that we had a little. What were you talking about, B, at first?
Well, I was talking about lovers.
Lovers?
The world love lovers. The 3 L's. Loving, laughing,
And what
living. Living.
said I've had my fun.
Yeah.
If I don't get well no more, yeah. I said I've had my fun, people. if I never get well no more, I said my health is failing me, and I think I'm going down slow. I don't want you to do nothing but just moan. Say,
Just moan. Baby.
Papa's got a brand new bag.
Baby, 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 baby.
Just open the door and I'll get it for myself.
Now, baby, baby, say it one more time.
Papa's got a brand new bag.
Now, what should I do right here? I don't know what love is,
But I think I got it bad.
but I think I
Got it bad.
I got it bad.
I know.
Said I don't know, 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 I don't know. But I think I got a little bit of it bad. It ain't no fun in missing the things you want. But it's so bad when you miss the good things that you once have had. Now what about it, B?
I don't claim to be no gambler. I tell you, I don't know much about the dice. I want you to listen to me. Oh, I don't claim to be no gambler. I tell you, I don't know much about the dice. But now I want you to hear this, Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
But I'll wager my baby knows. Bobby, she knows he ain't the kind that's gonna crap out twice.
It's my own fault, darling. Treat me the way you wanna do. I said it's my own fault, darling. Treat me the way you wanna do. Oh, and when I was loving you, girl, at that time, girl, I didn't love you. Look out. What? Say it again.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry.
That's when somebody goofed up, you know. You're
I
trying
know.
to make up.
That
Mr.
was me.
Brown.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, you sound so good. Sound so good.
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry.
Right, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, B.B. King, right, the Dixie Hummingbirds, the Mighty Clouds, Joy, Jabo Starks, the drummer that James Brown took, Melvin Jackson, the band leader, James Brown, took from my dad's original band, the Joe Scott Orchestra. Roy Gaines, the piano player in the movie Color Purple. His brother, Grady Gaines, he was a blues artist and saxophonist. Right, Little Richard. Clarence Gatemouth Brown, he was a true one. Remember, he was the one put us on that, hey, check into your dad or your late husband's songwrites overseas in Europe. They're making a lot of money over there. You know, and what other artists, right? Eric Clapton, Stevie Ray Vaughan, The Grateful Dead.
They signature song.
Right.
Turn on your
these
love
are,
light. Yes, it's always was requested until I started turning them down for those peanuts.
Turn on Your Love Light also was made in the movie The Blues Brothers with Dan Aykroyd, John
2000.
Belushi.
Yes.
Like if you listen throughout all it was like part 1, 2, 3, in all those movies, that song would be like the featured entitled song throughout the movie. And if you really like go back and watch the movies and Peggy, you will hear it.
Yes, I was in Macy's the other night, and I just couldn't believe it. Turn on Your Love Light start playing. And I says, whoa, I guess he's telling me to shop till I drop. I told the salesperson about it. She was in awe. She looked at me like, is she dreaming? No, I told her she was pipe dreaming. This was the real deal.
I was watching TV late night, maybe like a decade ago, and there was a commercial of Time Life Classics music, and they showed the original footage of my dad and Big Mama Thornton performing the song Hound Dog. Like it was in black and white on one of those like 1960s talk shows, like Ed Sullivan or something, or
Yes.
But I might be misquoting the name of the show, but I definitely remember seeing like an infomercial for it, and I'm like, wow, that's my dad. That's Big Mama Thornton. The lady used to go to her house when I was a little kid, a youth.
Yes, and sadly, the last time my late husband saw her before he passed away in San Francisco, it broke his heart with her being in San Francisco, standing on the street pelling, and then her legend musician gave her his home in Sugar Hill, where he lived, to stay. And I went to visit her, and she took you as her grandson.
Definitely was a godmother figure to me. I do remember that.
Yes.
She was very fond of me. She always would say how I looked just like my dad, because his nickname was Bubs.
Yes.
And they always say that, and that's how I got the name Jay. That was like his nickname for Joseph.
Right.
And then like the Wellington from Duke Wellington, Count Basie, where my dad was one of his original horn section musicians with the living legend Quincy Jones.
And matter of fact, with Quincy walking on Clyde's, he used to come to my late husband at the Dunbar Hotel and watch when he was, your father became the hit maker and not a dream maker for advice. And that's the way it goes in this business today, off the wealth, the wicked wealth, thriving off of quote unquote the hit makers' music that is not being acknowledged. With Joseph being the first rhythm and blues producer to typify the brass horns to rhythm and blues music. With music at its best, he also served in the United States Navy and was employed by the United States Postal Service while attending the Conservatory of Music. He was such a good cook. I got spoiled. I had never heard about gumbo, with him being French Creole, and he gave me, in those days, $300 to go and buy some seafood to make some gumbo. I didn't understand that. He said, get the crabs, the lobster, the shrimps, and the sausages. And he said, you already have the vegetable. I went downtown in Greek time in Detroit, got all those ingredients, and I called my brother and I said, my husband is making gumbo and I want you to come to dinner. He said, what you talking about, gumbo soup? Not only was he a chef, when we had no place to stay, he bought a fishing boat and parked it at one of his friends' house in their driveway so he can still go fishing. He caught a fish so huge, everyone was afraid to eat the fish because they thought it was a human. Then his friend, who wrote for one of those chilling circle newspaper, the Forward Times, he said, I'll take it. My wife is Catholic. He said, they are sacred. He said, they'll eat this big fish. And he donated the fish to the Catholic Church. Not only was he a good cook, he was my best friend, a father. When we were struggling paying that $100,000 back income tax would be equivalent to $1 million today, when he was writing music while they was paying him cash as if it was free. When he left Don Roby in 1973, he took the kids to the Astrodome.
Well, you remember that? I was just gonna say that. That was one of my favorite childhood memories of my dad, because I was originally born in Houston, Texas, and he took me, my sister Cherie, my brother Robert. We took the city bus to it used to be called the Astrodome, Astro World. We saw the Houston Oilers game, and little did I know, until I got older, my dad was taking me to see Earl Campbell, the Hall of Fame running back. Then I remember being younger and we moved to LA from Texas, and my dad was super cool. He would always take us, it seemed like we went to an amusement park every other weekend. We would go to Knott's Berry Farm, Disneyland, the Hollywood Wax Museum. We would go to like Venice Beach, Magic Mountain. This was in like the late 70s. I remember doing this.
Yes, he was so humble. You think a man that's being chauffeured in a limousine, taking his kid to all of these theme parks on a bus. He was that humble. We was on a bus when we moved out here in California. I ran into some friends of mine from Detroit. I was sorely embarrassed because they know back in Detroit I had got married to a record producer, and when we got on the bus, I saw them. I started to duck, and they said, hi, Princess. And he looked at me like, no big deal. And we was catching the bus riding to his parents' home from where we lived off of La Cienega and the foot of Baldwin Hills to visit his parents in Sugar Hill. And just across the next corner where his dad lived, where Marvin Gaye bought the home for himself and his parents. It was just so connected. He was such a spiritual man. And he just loved everyone. I remember we went into a church that his sister invited him to. He had another sister by his father's marriage that invited him to her church on the east side. And it was just like a little old small church, like a little Sunday school class over in the east side of LA. The pastor was so overwhelmed because he had on this expensive suit and those expensive shoes, and he didn't see that in the tie. He asked my husband's sister, "Is this a minister? Why is he sitting in the back?" She said, "No, it was just the type of man he was."
Oh, that's true. If you look at some of my dad's old photos, he was fresh. He had on like suits with the fedora brim hats, the Stacey Adams shoes. Another thing was cool about my dad, he liked the sports. And I think that's where me and my second youngest brother, Robert Scott, while we liked the football. My dad was a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. He put my brother in youth tackle football at Baldwin Hills, Pop Warner, and I was the water boy for the team. And I think that's what planted the seed when I grew up that I liked the music and football. That's what I do remember. My dad, he was a good cook. Like you said, made gumbo, fried fish. He loved soul food. Hot water cornbread, Simon croquettes, catfish, fried shrimp, filet of sole. That was his favorite. I remember that.
Yes, he said we love fried food, that we were people of color. He said, but he had some friends when he used to go across the border from Houston to Mexico to play with the mariachi band. He just loved music so well. He said he learned that they love fried food too. That's why they named their fried beans refried beans. But nevertheless, he loved for me to make the pies. He said he could not make pies like I did, but he don't know he inspired me to make pies. That's how I became a good pie maker, making peach cobblers and sweet potato pies, and I got the recipe from my mother-in-law with the lemon meringue pie. But we have another family member, his grandson Nehemiah, who became famous in playing the trumpet, and when he was in high school, he was so good. His music instructor that was from Houston, Texas, that gave Nehemiah a lot of education about his dad. He was the one told Nehemiah about Stevie Ray Vaughan and that guitar when the music industry moved to Houston, Texas. Nehemiah became so encouraged that he won the Louis Armstrong Award. Come, Nehemiah, as you take it to the next level in music and tell the story about your granddad that made it possible for everyone.
Well, my name is Nehemiah Scott. I'm Joe Scott's grandson. Joseph Scott, he was born on December 2nd, 1924 in Texarkana, Texas, to the parents of Chauncey and Johnny Scott. His dad was the minister of music at Cannon Baptist Church, to a saxophone man. His my great-grandfather, my dad's grandfather played the saxophone. But Joe Scott himself, he played many instruments. I don't think they mentioned that. His main instrument was trumpet, but he also played piano, I believe. Well, he arranged everything in the song, so I believe he played a lot of
all
instruments
of them.
more than that. Like
he did. Drums, guitar, he did. Bass.
Because to arrange a whole song, me being in band personally, I know a little bit about it. Trombones, saxophone, like flutes, clarinets, piano, just many xylophones.
And also the violin.
So I know to create a song at a scale like that, it takes a lot of talent and hard work. So he was also my great grandfather, Chauncey, he moved his family to LA before they settled in Texas. And Texas is where my grandpa put music on the map, Houston, Texas. It's also where he was a student at Jefferson High School. It's also where Chapel of Love became his big hit and got famous. Then in Houston, Texas, he carried on for Duke Peacock Records. Carrying on Duke's Peacock Records in contradiction to disenfranchised by forces and conspiracy to the music industry. A lot of people are trying to defraud my grandpa's music, as they said earlier, like that. And I know being younger, music is not worth as much as it used to be, and so I could live experiences like that. Like iTunes, I believe everything's going for $1 or less than that, like pennies. So I can. I don't know if you want to talk about like the percentages and stuff like that.
Yes, in doing so, this is where the wicked of the wealth is thriving off of my late husband's music. They are copywritten his songs to the Library of Congress and defrauded my names as if I was copywriting the music, and they gave him 75% themselves and gave Joseph 25%. Now, how is it that a record label is going to take 75% of an artist's music and give the writer 25%?
Those for worldwide, right?
And that's worldwide.
But the U.S. was
The U.S. was 50% in Canada. Now, anyone can see that do math that is conflicting, and we have no agreement for any of this.
It seemed like it should be the opposite, that they get 25% and we would get 75%, but
Absolutely.
it's the contrary. They get 75% worldwide, and we only get 50% in the United States, 25% worldwide.
Yes, and a large major record label with Don Roby going out of business, selling the rights first beginning with ABC. It was a pattern. It went from ABC to MCA when MCA Music started making the movies, to Universal. And now, with the record label in Texas being named Duke's Peacock Record, now it's NBC Peacock, with Don Roby's scheme and selling Joe Scott and all his stocks to them without my late husband's agreement. And they stole his masters when he was starting his own label. No one should have the right to own anyone's master but the owner. Jay, you can...
Don Roby.
Go ahead.
As my father had mentioned earlier, Don Roby was like the Suge Knight of his time. He was putting, she could explain it better than me, but he was putting like security guards on the labels, on my father's songs.
Yeah.
They didn't write anything at all. They weren't singers or anything. They were just security guards, right?
Security guard and road manager that was took care of their costume and clothing. He couldn't afford to pay them, and he put my husband's songs on some of his royalties, like the song he wrote on Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay. The Ally Shuffle. He gave the road manager 25% of my late husband's song of getting him royalties paid. Then another one that was a bodyguard that he named the A&R man, Gilbert. He gave him writer's right to pay him on the song Good Time Charlie. Now that is strange. If you're a writer, you're just not You just don't write one song. You're a continuous writer. They could not play. There was no musician. They was just either they took care of the costume or the bodyguard.
As well as giving percentages to himself.
And giving the percentage to them.
Let alone giving the security guard. He also put his name for song credits.
And Don Roby, he put his songs on every artist that was employed by him. He put his name down as either 50% of the writer's share or 25%. If this was true, Don Roby would be the hugest prolific songwriter in the world. Now, if Barry Gordy had done this, none of his musicians would have became artists today. Which Duke's Peacock Record was the first Afro-American company that started with hit songs because of my late husband's blood, sweat, and tears, typified the brass horns, the first producer in rhythm and blues music. And after this, Stax Record, which the owner was Al Bell, used to be a radio announcer. He said he got inspired with Joe Scott music that he was playing on the radio when he joined forces with Stax Records. When Joe came on board, he had 4 A&R artists beside Don Roby named himself. He had the legend Johnny Otis, he had Bill Harvey, and Little Richard was an artist. But he, as I said earlier, Little Richard was an emotional man that he did not bow down to Don Roby's astute wrongdoing. And when he left and told him he was leaving, he pistol whipped him with a gun. And Little Richard became a sensational, one of the biggest rock and roll artists as of today. As well as Johnny Otis. He became one of the hugest record producer with his own artists as of today. Yes. Otis Redding, he was with Stax Record. He never was involved with Duke's Peacock Record. Yes, it's just because him and Isaac Hayes,
What about
my late husband, was friends.
What about Bill Harvey?
Bill Harvey just left and gave up, which was a band leader.
Don Omari?
Yes, yes. Joe had other artists that was in his band. They became celebrities with special music solos that they went on to do. Donald Myers, or Earth, Wind, and Fire, he was my late husband's friend that he went on to be a soloist with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Then we have Ernie Fields. He became the conductor for Ray Charles' band. Ray Charles stated that Joe had the best rhythm and blues band in the world. Speaking of the movies and his songs being on the movie score, you mentioned Wild with Reese Witherspoon. We didn't get paid our dues. Then we have
Which all these movies happened over long periods of time. Like Wild was a newer movie, but Blues Brothers 2000. Hence the name 2000. It came out in 2000, but Wild was like a 2014.
Denzel Washington, the movie Hurricane Jackson, with the song Good Time Charlie, that was played in 3 to 4 different scenes. And we have the movie with Richard Roundtree, where they use his song with Curtis Mayfield on the score Never Let Me Go. named Ocean 11 with Richard Roundtree and Curtis Mayfield. And there is many more that I have to continue doing research about because they're doing a license without acknowledging to get a license clearance from me. And they're saying that if there are other co-writers, they don't have to get it from another writer's consent, which I have a legal dispute about that. Yes, no one should be able to make a decision for another writer, and especially when they're not the authorship of the song.
And as you can see, all these movies always have an all-star cast, but they always want to offer like small amounts of money.
Yes, with all-star cast. You think of East Bayou with Samuel L. Jackson. Every artist in that movie was all-star. Lynn Winfield, she's a great actress. Diane Carroll. The two daughters, they're around your age, Nehemiah. No, they're around your age, Jay's age. They're around Jay's age.
I'm not familiar.
Megan Good, Journey Smollett, who played as the mischievous little girl in that movie. The movie Wow. Then we also have the movie Traffic with Kirk Douglas with the famous song Blind Man that has been recopywritten 3 or 4 times with the song score Blind Man. And Bob Dylan with the song Never Let Me Go on his movie score Thunder. We never got paid 1 red cent, never less a dime. Then with the Blues Brothers 2000 was all cast. Even Aretha Franklin was in that movie, Blues Brother 2000. It's the same as the movie Wow. Reese Witherspoon, I can't remember all the actress' names at the moment, but they are always all-star.
Yes, it was more than just those actors. We just named like one actor.
Yes, who did the starring role.
Instead of multiple.
Yes, it was multiple
On each
actors
cast,
and actors. Also, there's been a lot of TV sitcoms that they are used his music on. Right now, I have to do more research to remember the name of these TV sitcoms. And I will.
I believe you said Jimmy Kimmel had.
Oh, they repeated Jimmy Kimmel until I just blatantly stopped. Jimmy Kimmel and the one that collect cars.
Jay Leno.
Jay Leno. And the other one before Jay Leno. The older one. David.
I forgot. David Letterman?
Yes. This was repeated using his music on the Tonight shows. On talk shows. Until I just stopped clearing the license because they was only offering $125. I got fed up.
And those are, on major cable labels like Channel 7, 2, and 4. So.
And the most favored nation, the favorite nation contract is worldwide. And that's supposed to be the best income earned. I just turned down where this producer, he harassed me for the last 6 years to do his music on this new talk show host, Steve Colbert, for the song Turn On Your Love Light that is filmed at this theater, Ed Sullivan Theater, until he just gave up and stopped requesting that I give him the rights to do the music repeatedly for $400 and they get $3,000 or $4,000 for the music. And this doesn't go on in today's music. They're rating for what they did back then and the 50s and the 60s salary that it don't go on today. If that went on today, these artists could not live in Bel Air and Palisades. They could not drive Rolls Royces and Teslas. And what are some of these other cars, Nehemiah?
Like mediocre car?
No.
I mean like.
The big high-end
Are
cars.
you talking about like Mercedes or like higher than that? Like
Higher than
Bugattis,
that, yeah.
Rolls Royce.
I've named Rolls Royce and Bentleys.
What else is there? Rolls Royce, Bentley. That's why I said, are you talking about lower than that? There's Cadillac.
No, that's mediocre. Let's start with the M.
Oh, a Maserati.
Maseratis.
And Alfa Romero.
Alfa Romero. What is the one that Mariah gave
Mariah Carey.
yes, Ferrari and Lamborghinis. Now how can they drive cars like that off of contracts for $400 and $500? Come on. Now can an elephant swing on a vine? No way.
And also, like, besides all-star movie stars, has also been Grammy Award winning nominated people, and he hasn't won an award himself for a Grammy.
Not
or any
a
award.
gold spoon. Less more than a gold Oscar record. And these artists is getting Grammys and Oscars off of his music. I was watching TV when I retired from the Grammy board, looking at Kendrick Lamar about 4 years ago, getting a Grammy sampling my late husband's music. Now, this shall pass. Now we know something in the milk is just not clean. No, it's not. They're making all this huge income, but what they're doing also, they're selling the music since you can download it for 99 cents for free, and they're giving them huge contract over the old artist's music. They're also copying the songs and selling it at their concerts. So you take, for example, the Righteous Brother, Bill Medley. I went to the Playhouse in Rancho Cucamonga. I waited until the show was over. Old timer, like my late husband, and probably around my age. And I went to him and introduced myself at the table, signing an autograph off of a song that he remade from Joe Scott, Turn on Your Love Light, that he received the Songwriters Hall of Fame award. I was invited by a personal friend to the Songwriters Hall of Fame award. Then we have another artist that got a Grammy Award, Jerry Lee Lewis, off of this song that so many artists have remade, the same song, Turn on Your Love Light. He got a Grammy Award for the song. Here's another one, Greg Allman of the Allman Brothers, Cher's ex-husband, out of Macon, Georgia, where I was born. Just cut those. Then Bobby Bland got an award for the song. He felt so bad. This is when he did the live taping about if it wasn't for my late husband's Joe, he would have been just a regular blues singer. Yes.
So his influence has spread a lot over these years. You can tell he was very influential back then.
Today, from the 50s as of today's music.
And I was going to mention too, earlier I was alluding to, it's a lot of rap music artists and beat makers that have sampled my dad music and my mom and his estate. I haven't seen anything. And she was mentioning Kendrick Lamar, but it's not even so much to put the onus on him. You gotta say who made the beat for the song you rapped over, and that was Ninth Wonder. Matter of fact, when my son's mom was pregnant with him, and me and her was staying in Hollywood, we went to Universal City. Well, it used to be these record stores. You can go listen to the music. Why did I come across a mixtape with Funk Master Flex, the DJ that always hates on West Coast hip hop? Another story though. And he had an album with my dad beat with the West Coast rap group, the Alcoholics, rapping over. And I was in like 99, 2000. And I told my mom about it, I think. I said, wow, this East Coast DJ or radio personality, he made a compilation mixtape with different rappers from the East and West Coast. But I was like, that's the Alcoholics rapping over my dad beat. And I'm like, man, he didn't even get a, I said, you know anything about that?
And I did.
And it was Detroit rapper connected to Eminem and Dr. Dre. Right, sampled his music and they tried to throw you some crumbs. Right, Eminem, Dr. Dre, Ninth Wonder, Kendrick Lamar, Ludacris. It's even a Young Jeezy song. When he first came, I think one of his first singles, it's like this horn intro where he'd be like, the hood go crazy. That's my dad's horn sample from a Bobby Blue Bland record. And I'm like, you never heard about it. No contract, no record, no license clearance, sync license, anything to show you how cutthroat the music industry is. And it really starts with Don Roby, his business partner, forging my dad's signature, putting fictitious names to steal the publishing, writer's share. Then he sold it without my dad's contractual consent to like, what was it, ABC? Then ABC became MCA. Then MCA became Universal. Then even Warner Brothers got some of my dad's music.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, you can't leave out that. Like it's very deeply rooted and connected.
It is
as
in
far as when you look
conspiracy
at,
with Warner Brothers.
The entertainment industry, these big corporations. No, and it's on like a global scale. Google, right? They even got.
Oh, Google owed me so much.
They even have an overseas company called Universal Duchess, which is their Europe branch and division of record label and publishing. Remember Universal Duchess?
Yes.
Universal, Warner Brothers, MCA.
Naming their subsidiary Peacock. Connecting off of this Don Roby.
You even have sometimes Sony at one time was using my dad's music and offering you like some very disrespectful and insulting
They did.
license agreements, to use the music or to record the song. And
They did.
Like
They
when I go on the
did.
internet now, it's a lot of from my personal research, I see where it's a lot of artists I haven't even heard of. And they just taking this song, doing covers with my dad's music. Like artists I've never heard of. Whether they like rappers,
They are.
rock musicians, country music, musicians, pop music, musicians, because this is a song that Rihanna got. Sound real eerie.
Oh,
close.
yes,
Oh,
there's
you
a
can't forget
dispute
that.
right now. No, we cannot let that go.
put it
I
all out
have an
there.
attorney that have strung me along for 4 years, drive me to the end and others. I just had to throw the paper in his face and fire him. And he told me, you just upset. I say, you go to the bathroom. It's you. It got so heated with him and I had to report him to the state bar for misconduct where Rihanna, her $1 million song that brought her up, Love on the Brain, it's my same late husband's arrangement, Pledging My Love, that he recorded when Johnny Otis was on board, when him and Johnny Otis started out writing and recording music together. He was the arranger, and Johnny Otis wrote the song, Pledging My Love. And now they're trying to say some other artist wrote the song, a fictitious collaborator. This is just how these wicked peoples in the industry is doing some of the old artists' music work.
Oh yeah, I call them the occult controller and manipulators of the music industry, straight up.
Yes.
You know, like I don't any wrongdoing, I don't fear none of that. Facts is facts.
It
You know,
is a
truth
fact.
Is true. Like this is
Yes, the
saying
truth will
my,
make you free.
I'm basically working check to check since my college days, while my dad's music estate, song rights, publishing, writer share, likeness, image, millions, multi-millions is being made off of it annually. And it sucks too, all these fake attorneys. You know that
They sell out.
my family, we pay money for like retainers fees. My mom explained her situation. She give them important documents to prove
Yes,
that
all
it's
the
my
supporting
dad's music.
documents.
And they always, for decades, this was right, like I
And
said,
now-
between 92 and 2000. Yeah, from when my son Nehemiah was like about 10 months old. And this one attorney, his agreement was so phony.
Yes,
and
he was known
disrespectful.
to be an astute.
My son got up and started walking. And before that, he had never walked.
Before
And we took that as a spiritual
message. We got up and got out
get
his
up out of
office.
here, like he's trying to play us.
Yes, and he did. He was known to be an astute crook.
Right, for legal purposes, just to,
For legal
our
purpose.
claim to be valid. I'm not gonna even put his name on blast.
Same here.
But he know who he is though. It's about 5 or 6 others I really would like to go in on. But I don't want them to say that it's alleged and I'm putting their names and it would hurt. My mom and our fight we've been doing for the last decades.
I did
just to get
on
what's
one
rightfully
because I
owed
am
to my
just
dad and my mother, my son and I being his co-heirs.
yes. Well, I did because I'm fed up.
I am getting to age like wine to champagne to the finest.
I reported that attorney to the state bar, and he's being reviewed as a misconduct attorney. And they said, Mrs. Scott, what you should do,
Cut Eddie, refer you to another attorney. That I need an attorney for his misconduct and a federal court attorney, which I am seeking. Back in the day, he was known to be a dishonest attorney, but I went ahead to work with him since I was advised by a friend that he had changed.
It's been that same issue. The attorneys always start off
they do.
like, oh yeah, we have a strong case.
Yes.
You guys are right. The mom gives them, even has my son and I help her dig up research and information.
Paperwork.
We even pay outside
Help.
sources to get information to get which the attorney and law firm, your team should be doing that. And then we pay them. And they let years go by
They do.
and try to let like the statute of limitations run out to make like a valid claim. Like they always come with the same finesse. I should
They
say.
do.
Flory Music
Yes,
Publishing.
yes. After my middle name, it's so long.
Because he was tired of done road.
Yes,
No Vaseline.
yes,
On this publishing, songwriters and writers share.
yes.
So like my mom would have me in middle school, junior high, going to the law library, learning about contract law,
Yes,
learning
I
about
did.
how to register a song,
Yes.
what's a license agreement.
Thank you.
You know, if they want to use your music for television, film, right? Even now, this attorney, I will give him his props because I think he passed away, and he really did love me and my mom.
He
genuinely.
did.
His name was Krasowski. He made a famous book called His Business of Music.
And he
He's from
autographed it to Jay. He was my best
perfectly
attorney.
Autographed it, even put, hey, you need to study these chapters, you know, to fight for your dad music.
He did.
I remember we flew to New York, and my son was about, like almost one. He was about
2, she was around. 1 then, that was before
Right.
we met Stroh.
That was before he met with Stroh.
Yes, he did.
His name was William Krasowski.
He was the best attorney.
Yeah.
If he was still living, all of this would be resolved. It's always some good and bad in the business.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
A true one.
He was.
And that book is famous too. A lot of
It is. It's called The
artists-
Business of Music.
This Business of Music.
Yes. All the attorneys know. The one that I hired in Beverly Hills that referred me to the attorney that I had to take to the state bar, they honor Krasowski in that book, The Business of Music. Yes. They do.
Remember that. What else is very important as far as my dad's music legacy? Like I said, I be sometime hearing my dad's music on the wave, or I hear his music at a sporting event, you know, over the PA system.
You do.
And I'm like,
Starbucks
wow.
coffee.
And I'm just sitting.
Yes. They have it on
you
there.
know,
They
quiet, keep it to
they
myself.
program.
Just saying it to myself, like, wow, that's like a message from the spirit world.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
like you know, what you gonna do about it?
Exactly.
It's pretty much where
we are today, but we have a fight, but we know that the truth will be revealed, and should be an education for ones that do not know and not doing anything about it. And always make sure you get a contract for your music and it's registered in the proper prospect. Send it to BMI or ASCAP. But we are blocked from doing this because of Universal, because this here wicked person in the South, due to discrimination and prejudice, sold it when my late husband left and he went out of business to ABC, and it went to MCA to Universal, which he was already selling throughout the period of his recording his very talented unsung music that was being credited to other producers.
He passed away so unexpectedly.
He
you know,
did.
Like when they had me,
53.
my dad was like 48, and he passed away when he was 54. I was 5, about to turn 6.
Yes, yes.
It was like such a little short window being a youth that I actually was conscious, you know, aware that I'm interacting with my dad, you know, just starting to develop a bond relationship with him. And my dad wouldn't even tell us he was sick at a time where he was so, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to mention, how cutthroat the music industry is. Do you know some people put a ladder to my dad's apartment in Mid-City?
In Culver City.
Borderline Mid-City, Culver City on the west.
Threw it over the
side,
fence.
Climbed, and we lived in the upstairs.
Gated community in Culver City.
Because it was rumored that my dad, while he was sick on dialysis machine treatments, his so-called music buddies was picking up my dad sick, taking him to the studio to Hollywood
to record music for them.
Music for them, which my dad was he wanted to record new music and, you know, position himself back
when he was starting his business
under his own label and publishing, you know, but it never came into fruition. I just remember, even no disrespect to my dad, sister, my aunt. my aunt was so cutthroat about the music industry.
You know, family
she
really
went and
can
said
be
that,
terrible.
that my dad didn't even have no wife
Or
and
children.
and that she was his next of kin.
That's
to
why I
claim his
believe.
estate.
I believe she had something to do with the
two
people's.
people broke in my mom's house while we was little kids. Me, my sister and brother. My mom fucked them off.
I sure
by
did,
herself.
by
'Cause
myself.
I remember.
To put a hit on my children and I, to do us some violent harm where we suffered.
I got
breaking through the
up. This
kitchen
guy
window.
was getting in my kitchen window, and him and I fought like two bears. And then he knocked me over this same piano that he was writing music, and the Lord gave me strength. And when he picked up the stool, I ducked, and I hit him so hard.
He ran out the door and left the sword on the floor that he had dropped fighting me.
Yeah, like they put a hit on my family.
On us.
This
Yeah.
is a true story. Then
They didn't do it once, they did it
I was saying, then
twice.
like a few weeks later,
Later,
I come home from
I
kindergarten.
picked my kids up from
And
school.
we come in, the door cracked open. You can see they had tore the drapes and made ropes.
To
for
tie
all
me and
four of
all
us,
of
for
us
my
four
mom,
ups.
Me and my half sister and brother, Cherie King Scott, Robert Scott.
Yes,
You know,
my
rest
son
in peace.
Robert is deceased now. That was in the Marines. That's another problem I have to go out of. So far with that. But I notice when you traumatize kids when they're young, sometimes they don't come out right. That was a big trauma. Came back,
That definitely was
they picked another time for me. It didn't happen in the night. They sent 2 more new guys.
And that's why I never feared.
I started walking up the
Street
stairs
gang culture, 'cause I'm
with
like, oh,
security
boy,
guards.
this is
That tell
way of
you
living.
your only God
industry.
is God. I started walking up the steps. They were so nervous, whoever paid them off. And I unturned the door. I'm in discernment, but it did really make a believer out of me. 2 in a row and 2 weeks later. I opened the door. This guy came running to meet me with the stocking cap on his head,
Mask off.
with a mask, with a gun.
Yeah,
I
that's
turned around with my briefcase when I was trying to carry on his music business on Crenshaw Boulevard. I turned around and started running. When I got to the bottom of the stairs, I dropped my briefcase. He picked it up, and I went to pick up his gun. When I went to pick his gun up, when he went to pick up my briefcase, he hit me in the head. And I started screaming, and he ran out. And what gets me, with my briefcase and his gun, he left driving in my car. They had been casing us. I had to leave out that gated community and Culver City.
And then I wrote the councilman of Los Angeles a letter, since they seem not to be doing anything about it.
And I had a lawyer in Century City start a lawsuit against that complex.
They did not protect us during our stay at that residential gated area.
We have been through a lot over my late husband's music, but it was between his sister or some of his friends that was writing music. She never had a husband, or not even probably a friend. She wrote to the record label, this how bad they want my late husband's estate. Said he was not even married.
Or had any children.
I had any children. And it really, the more we talk about it, now that's been around 30 years ago when he first passed away. I forgot it till he mentioned it.
How about
And
45?
my
About
son
50?
Robert, I know the doctor had told me with him being the oldest that he was traumatized the worst. But the
he
more
was
I
like
think
12.
about it, I said it was either the musicians or her. But it really looks peculiar because she was kind of thorough. He had always told me she was a black sheep in the family. She never had nothing. When we moved back out here, she was living with their mom.
She never had a husband or too much of anything. She was always meddling from the time that she got into communication with us as if she was insane.
Twice, and God saved me. That guy, and you know, had the police find my car? Ooh. They found it in an alley where it was all staged, where the other guy had met him and picked it up and they got away. That's how bad they want his music.
And like I say, as many East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, and Dirty South rappers, MCs that have sampled my dad's music, and no one's never gotten a license clearance or agreement from my mom, me,
Some
my
of
dad,
it.
our estate.
But some I turned
And
down.
if the ones they
it's
did,
so
like,
penniless.
they offered crumbs, like it was very disrespectful, very insulting, and then some of my mom just like turned down altogether. Like
I
no.
do. Right. Yes.
Like my dad has songs that's in the Rock and Roll
Hall of Fame. We discussed
for
that.
the artist Bobby Blue Bland, and we were like, but so
We
why he
discussed
doesn't
that
get
with
his
some
flowers?
when we talked about the gold records. I go to some of my associate house in the business. They little people with gold records on the wall. They with the right peoples and trophy. That's why we bringing this to the light. Like his famous song, "Turn on your love light and lead me on." This is what we ought to do for this noteworthy, gifted man of God.
We forgot one of my dad's first original
So
songs
he can rest
that
in
people hear
peace.
all the time. They Chapel of Love.
That's his first big song that Nehemiah expanded on when he went to Jefferson High School.
That's what I said.
That Chapel of Love was the biggest commercial ever. If you wasn't a strong person, it would make you cry. Don Roby sold that song to Spill Spector, who died in prison. Who the artist there? What is the Honeycombs? What's their name? You're helping me with me not having a part-time secretary. Nehemiah filling for her. What's the name of those artists?
I believe the Dixie Cups.
The name of the group. That's who they did the commercial on. I have no license clearance where they remade this song, The Chapel of Love. And when you play the original Chapel of Love the way Joe Scott produced it, you can tell when he started out from jazz musician that it's a little bluesy. You can hear the horns in the background.
And the
But the way the
artist,
artists, I think their name,
what about
the Chapter of
Leon
Love.
Isaac
If you
Haywood.
read it, it's been recorded by 3 or 4 different artists. The Chapter of Love. It was the biggest commercial in U.S. history. The Chapter of Love by State Farm. Going to the chapel and we're going to get married.
Right, it's like a little
Yes.
rock and roll classic. I'm
Yes,
saying you forgot about
yes.
It's this rhythm and blues artist that Dr. Dre sampled Ain't Nothing But a G thing from, named Leon Isaac Haywood. He re-recorded my dad music too without any paperwork.
Absolutely.
Man, I'm like, and that
It is
song
so
blew up by Dre. That sample.
I said just to
Right.
name a few.
And he had the dash to even
Yes.
give my mom a free copy of the CD with my dad's song on it.
And you know what?
Him and Roy Gaines.
This
I
is
was
what
like,
gets me. I said, this is like someone breaking into your house again, stealing your TV, and then they're going to invite you over to watch it, and you see, there is my TV. This is what all of this been done to me, and they hand me his album where they have remade his song.
And no disrespect
They have
to my
really
dad,
have disrespected me to the highest,
friend,
and my
Roy
late
Gaines.
husband. Yes.
Cause I respect his daughter Carolyn. She was cool. She was a babysitter.
She is
Personal babysitter for my late husband. Why? he was going to the recording studio, adding her father on his tracks that he was producing, Roy Gaines.
That was another inside job.
He took a song called Low Down and Funky.
What my late husband wrote
my
on
dad
him.
made before he passed away. And the song, like literally
it's what he
is
became.
What he became.
Low down and funky. He became.
Millions off that song, went overseas.
He wanted it so bad.
He even performed it live in front of us at the Long Beach Jazz
Festival.
and Blues Festival.
And gave us tickets with first class seats
and when I
to
confronted
come.
him about it, had the audacity to buck up on me and say, you got to float your own business. I said, I'm not asking you for no handout or nothing. I'm talking about you stealing my dad music and making
He
hundreds of thousands of
died
millions
when he
off
started
of
his own company on
and you
this
never
song.
got a song license agreements from my mother.
He's the one that went to London and recorded the song with the Jazz Crusaders. And my attorneys told me I had to wait until it started selling in America. I have met some true peoples in this business.
Right, he was just you can't forget Al Bell, Mr. Stax Records.
I don't even want to go on all of that.
Monk Higgins, even though no disrespect to the unalive. Remember, it was my 10th-year-old birthday party at a skating ring in like West Hollywood. And I guess my mom just, still not knowing too much about the music. And she thinking these were reputable, really respectable music business associates of my dad. Gave him some of his unreleased music. Remember, it's called Hollywood Woman.
A suitcase of his arrangement.
And the album release party was my birthday.
Right.
That year.
They gave him.
Turned 10.
Right.
And
they invited me to Jim Brown's house in my honor for the party up on Sunset in Hollywood Hills.
Jim Brown.
Yes.
Fred the Hammer Williamson. Jim Kelly from the movie Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. And it's one of those 70s actors from them black exploitation flicks.
The actor Roger Mosley given for Jay at the skating rink in Hollywood.
They all in a photo with me, you, and them.
I know
and
his
I didn't
name.
even know who I was with at 10 years old until I got in my late
all
teens,
of this
early 20s.
trying to butter me
and I seen
up.
the picture. I said, "Oh wow, that's
like it
who
started
that is,
in Detroit. When I said my husband could tell when we met, I
don't like some entertainers.
It started out that way, but it taught me a lesson. When I met him at a party for that song, Good Time Charlie.
A year later, Joe's artist, Vi Camber, spearheaded and invited me to the party.
And he sit down beside me and say, you act like you don't know me. I snugged and said, I don't. And didn't even know that I had a job on my hand. It was the truth. Because he noticed I was different. And it came out the truth. It is some not so good peoples in this business, and it is some good peoples. With all of these things happen to me from my late husband's death, it made me to reconcile with the Almighty. I needed some strength. I had to go to Bible college. I had to go where I thought I could get some spiritually help with peoples that truly was sincere and had love, as if I was fleeing from the world. And this is what gave me strength going to Bible college. I had to reconcile with Christ, because I don't think I could have made it out there in that world when Jay mentioned about these parties and all that I was attending, and I could not be a part of that because I was somebody's wife.
He hasn't got his flowers for being a composer and arranger and influencing many people over the time of year, over I guess
producer.
Yes.
Over 50
even
years.
A&R, artist, recording development. You know, he basically mentored and taught other musicians, even taught the artists themselves, like
how to sing,
how to sing their voice, their verse. You know, when the, what pitch, what tone, when to use a voice inflection when that's what Bobby Blue Bland said in the interview.
Yeah.
You know, like facts.
Yes.
You know, even the famous B.B. King song, "The Thrill Is Gone." If you know what you're listening to, that's pop song.
It is.
No disrespect.
And he
you know,
loved
to B.B.
first.
King and his family.
Yes, B.B. King left first.
All of his life, he still used Joe Scott arrangers from other producers and arranger after he left Duke Peacock Record. Why he became so famous and successful with the B.B. King clubs all over the United States, but it was all for Joe Scott music and arrangement with different producers and arrangers. Like one of his best men in his band, Melvin Jackson, he started being the band leader and arranger for B.B. King until the end. But we know with this never-ending music that the light should be shown, like the song said, turn on your love light, and everyone, as much as possible, need to know the truth.
And I hope this put some pressure and some heat on all these different music labels, the big name ones, even the independent artists that if you using my dad music, you know, like come correct. You know, like get the paperwork.
With a lot of
You
egos.
know, because that's not right. You know that my dad music estate is taking care of somebody else's family and their family members. You know,
And
while
ours,
while
Due to
we
people's
and my
egos.
we
grandkids
live in
is struggling.
check to check. You know, my
Yes.
mom should be retired from being self-employed and, you know, still being an administrator of my father's
Estate.
song rights and estate.
Yes.
You know, like
I
that's
should
not
have
right.
other employees doing all of this.
We should
and
have
with a
other
big-
artist.
Yes, and with a larger labor representing my company, where I should not even be exposed. Yes, and this is facts. But we know that something good is going to happen to this, because if you don't do nothing, you can't say nothing, and a closed mouth never get fed. Joe Scott music continue to live on. It continued to live on from one generation to another as they just changed in different formats. It went from jazz, gospel, rhythm and blues, now rap, rock,
And then the orchestra is kind of like classical too. almost.
classical. It just lives on.
I would definitely say Joe Scott's music is trailblazing, trend-setting, influential, historical. I would say definitely impactful because he created a whole different, unique sound of merging jazz with traditional rhythm and blues, gospel, soul, and funk. Definitely want to continue the legacy of my late and great dad, Joseph Wade Scott. You know, through my fight, you know, for what rightfully belongs to my mother, my family, and the state. I'm also going to continue his music legacy through the gifts that I inherited from him through my DNA. You know, my own and my son Nehemiah as well, our own musical works, compositions, you know, songs. Anything I can do to just continue to bring light to his memory, his accomplishments, you know, and just to be successful for him. You know, it's never too late. You know, for anything, you know, I still love you, Dad. You know, you was one of the best, you know, that to ever do it. You were before your time. You know, just the era of the music industry that you was successful in, and you know how it transitioned to today. You know, and I'm definitely always proud of just, you know, that was my dad. Even for that short time period, you know, to bond with him, spend time with him, you know, have him raise me. You know, that definitely has been my inspiration for me to be successful in life today, and, you know, set goals, never be discouraged. You know, always be strong-willed, you know, and always be authentic. Because that's, you know, that's another great thing about my father. I remember he was genuine and authentic, you know, one of the coolest on the planet. So I feel like it's a duty and obligation for me, you know, to keep it that same way. You know, just my being genuine and sincere with people, places, and things, you know, and being ambitious and outgoing, you know, to be successful, especially music. Like, I definitely would feel it's a travesty just on the strength of who my father is if my son and I don't put out some sort of musical projects, whether it be neo soul, R&B, pop, you know, West Coast or traditional East Coast hip hop, trap, you know, because we are musicians too. It's in our DNA, you know, and it's only right, you know, continue the legacy of our family business.
70 years of music at its best.